Is Mr. WWE Report here, coming to you live from Clearwater, Florida. Officially moved. Said it in my last update video. Man, it's been such a long time since coming on here and talking WWE. Quick update before I get into this. This is kind of like a WWE roster analyzation. First off, I want to mention how I've had a football radio show called the Football Hotspot over in college. Recently graduated, so kind of transitioning studios. So stay tuned on that channel. To hear me, I don't want to say more frequently because I'm trying to get more so into this channel, but off of work today for my main job, so definitely going to come to you guys hopefully more often than not. Obviously in Clearwater there's a lot of things to enjoy a little bit more than doing YouTube, but I want to get that love that I once had back again. I just miss updating you guys and talking WWE, getting the views, the comments, hearing from you guys and stuff like that. Nonetheless, what else was I going to say? I got some interesting videos coming on the way. Some real job stuff that I've been doing. Working for some companies, going to do some reviews because I recently am leaving one of my jobs I've been with for 6+ years. So going to do a video on that. It's not really about WWE or NFL, but going to pretty much upload it on this channel, more of a platform. I know I have a couple other little channels, but going to upload that. So before we get into it, a couple guys that aren't on this list, obviously Chris Bay, huge fan of him outside of the ring. He and I have been friends for a long time. Sorry that the reflection's in the glasses here. Chris Bay, so glad he's TNA X Division Champion. And Heath Slater at Slammiversary came. What else? EC3, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson. So a lot of free agents out there. We'll see what happens on AEW, but going to analyze the WWE roster here. So we have the champions to go through first. Braun Strowman, I'm really glad he is Universal Champion. Supposedly that was obviously supposed to go to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania against Goldberg. Guess that didn't happen because Roman Reigns has not competed, still hasn't since the coronavirus stuff happened, or is happening for that matter. But Braun Strowman faced Bray Wyatt last night at ExtremeRules in the Swamp match, which was pretty interesting, non-title match. So now we'll see at Summerslam The Fiend versus Braun Strowman, where I believe The Fiend will pick up the victory against Braun at SummerSlam. So we shall see. But again, I am glad Braun finally holds the face of the Smackdown belt. Drew McIntyre, WWE Champion. We've talked about Drew McIntyre a lot on this channel, obviously, just because he's been around for so long. So he is the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. Very glad he's the champion. He and Dolph Ziggler faced off at Extreme Rules last night. Man, what a match. I was kind of rooting for Dolph Ziggler just because I feel so bad for him, because he deserves, obviously, much more. But there's just so much WWE can give somebody, with all the roster spots they have and the championships that they have. But Drew McIntyre, we have SummerSlam coming up. I think the rumor was he was going to face Randy Orton at SummerSlam, perhaps. We'll see how that goes. One more run for Orton as it comes to WWE Champion. We'll see. So we'll talk about more Randy when we get to him. Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, last night against Extreme Rules Sasha Banks. We'll see how that comes into tuition tonight on Raw. Apparently Vince McMahon really wanted a lot of people to tune into Raw because obviously the viewership has not been too good. So we'll see. I believe Asuka is still listed as champion here, so got the sniffles ever since started recording. But yeah, so Asuka is currently the champion. We'll kind of analyze Kyrie Shane, Sasha, all those when we get to them. But take a quick break. I want you guys to ask me questions like, where you been? I want to do like a Q&A type to explain my life. Again, I moved to Clearwater from New Jersey. I just want to explain to you guys where the heck I've been and communicate with all my fans again. Bayley, SmackDown Women's Champion, been SmackDown Women's Champion for so long, and she's Women's Tag Champ with Sasha Banks. I'm just waiting for that Bayley and Sasha feud. I thought it was going to happen at SummerSlam. They've planted seeds in the past, and just not as much as you would expect with SummerSlam in a month. The tension's coming. I just thought it would come already. AJ Styles, Intercontinental Champion, since he's back on SmackDown, since apparently backstage the disagreement between himself and Paul Heyman, the reason why Gallows and Anderson got released. I am glad AJ Styles is on SmackDown, Intercontinental Champion, feuding with Matt Riddle. Him and Daniel Bryan, as well as himself and Drew Gulak, put on a great match. So we'll see what happens to AJ Styles if he does rise the ranks. I know it's kind of tough right now with Braun and Bray Wyatt feuding. So we'll see how AJ Styles does, but I'm glad he can hold that mid-card title. Apollo Crews, the United States champion. He hasn't been on. He wasn't on Extreme Rules. Apparently they say he might have COVID-19 or being pretty cautious, but I'm glad ever since Apollo came back on Raw a few months ago before Money in the Bank. He's been able to be champion, feud with MVP. So we'll see how that goes. I'm glad he was able to get a title match with Shelton Benjamin as well. If you guys have been watching my channel, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the mid-card guys. So we'll see if Apollo eventually joins MVP or if Shelton joins MVP, but right now Apollo hasn't been on, so we'll see how they go. The Street Profits have been Raw Tag Team Champions for quite some time. They've been feuding with the Viking Raiders in an interesting feud. Unfortunately, I didn't get too much into that, like the bowling, the basketball. Just pretty much had no interest in that for whatever reason. But they are the Raw Tag Team Champions. Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro are the SmackDown Tag Champs. Beat the New Day, which apparently was supposed to be the whole Forgotten Sons thing. One of them tweeted about Trump, and for some odd reason, thrown off the bus, thrown out of here. And they pretty much gave how they were supposed to Shinsuke and Cesaro. So, I mean, I'm glad Cesaro has some belt. Nakamura as well. So we'll see how that goes. R-Truth, the 24/7 champion, he beat Gronk. This belt, I haven't talked about this belt once on the channel, but this belt is a pretty good opportunity for some of these mid-card and no-name guys to kind of make a name for themselves. Not really. The belt has kind of become a joke lately. But R-Truth, the longest reigning champion, or is Gronk still longest reigning champion? I know that R-Truth has won it like 40 times or, 20 times, whatever. But R-Truth always entertaining nonetheless. NXT champions, we have Keith Lee, who pretty much won the NXT North American and NXT champion from Finn and Adam Cole. Let's go. We'll do Raw first here on the website. Allister Black. Huge fan of Allister Black. I'm going to kind of skim the list, and you guys definitely feel free to leave comments. I definitely want to hear from you guys and possibly do a Q&A. I really want to. Allister Black. Huge fan of him. I really think he deserves more maybe United States title picture. I know he was in Money in the Bank. That was really good. I love Allister Black. Can't go wrong with a nice kick from him. Really underrated guy on the roster. Andrade. He is teaming up with Angel Garza lately to become the Raw Tag Team Champions in that picture. So can't go wrong with that. I'm a big fan of Angel Garza, so hopefully they win some tag team titles. I wouldn't mind them beating Dawkins and Ford. Apollo Crews, we've talked about him. Austin Theory, very glad he's kind of finding himself. He's with Seth Rollins, so he is kind of making more of a name. But we'll see if he stands out, possibly gets some mid-card gold as well. Again, there's tons of people on this roster and just so little, opportunity for them because of everything going on, and it's definitely tough. But I am glad that some of the mid-card guys like Heath Slater, EC3 get to go to TNA, Zack Ryder, maybe AEW, we'll see, and make a name for themselves in a company where there is more flexibility. Bianca Bel Air returned last week on Raw. She is going to quickly rise to the top. We'll see how Asuka-Sasha feud goes. Sasha and Bayley kind of taking over both belts on Raw and SmackDown. So we'll see other women hopefully rise the ranks, Bianca Belair being one. The Big Show, he's kind of resurfaced lately with WWE taping in Orlando. He's native to the Tampa area here, so he's obviously in the area able to wrestle, and he will be facing Randy Orton tonight on Raw in an unsanctioned match. Randy Orton kind of bringing back the legends, Legend Killer, Christian, Edge, the Big Show. So we'll see how that goes. The Ikonics, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. I'm a huge fan of the Ikonics. And I was hoping they won the belts back from Sasha and Bayley at the last pay-per-view where they fought against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and then they faced each other on Raw. So hopefully they win the belts again soon. But probably not. There's, again, a little for them to do. Bobby Lashley, him and MVP. That's a good pairing. Bobby Lashley had his title match against Drew McIntyre, so hopefully there's more for Bobby Lashley. Right now he's feuding with Apollo for the United States title picture. We'll see whether Lashley or MVP win. We'll see which one, but wouldn't mind either of them winning. Just the whole, the mid-card belt feud is going pretty well. Cedric Alexander recently paired up with Ricochet. Great tag team. Hopefully they find their way into the tag team title as well. We see Angel Garza and Andrade in that picture. Dolph Ziggler, great match last night at Extreme Rules against Drew McIntyre. We talked about them as well. Dolph Ziggler always deserves more, but ever since he was put on Raw, him and AJ Styles swapped. Definitely great to see him get at least a title shot nonetheless. Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, again, talked about them. Hopefully, they are very impressive for especially their size, so we'll see if the tag team title, if that's pretty much it for them, and what is next for them. Maybe send them over to SmackDown. Not sure when the draft is because of everything going on, but that will definitely be a new, a fresh start for them after losing to the Street Profits. Humberto Carrillo has found himself in the Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins feud. Again, there's just so many guys with so little, with so little titles, and there's a lot of guys fighting for, these select few titles. So hopefully, again, he finds himself into a, either continues with this, but whatever it is, hopefully he stays on. Jinder Mahal, he returned and then got hurt again. We'll see what he does. Mid-card title for Jinder, but, big fan of Jinder as well. Kyrie Shane is apparently leaving for sure WWE to go back to Japan with her family. We'll see how they write Kyrie Shane off. Hopefully, it's definitely sad. Her and Asuka had tons of great talent, tons of great potential, and tons of great history. Together, they both won the Raw Tag Team title, so kudos to her. Definitely going to miss her in the ring. Kevin Owens is a guy who's been trying to avoid WWE a little bit because of COVID, but when he's on, he's definitely exciting. We'll see what happens to Kevin Owens, if he stays kind of in the mid-card, which he's been doing, or rises the ranks. Again, we'll see when the draft is. Lana's been up and down. She's been with Lashley, got the divorce. Now she's with Natalya. So definitely maybe a rebranding for herself and Natalya for one last run. Liv Morgan, kind of the, her first gimmick was kind of, not too special. Well, with the Riot Squad, obviously hugely special. Then nothing for a while, then recently came back. Ruby Riott has been, on recently. Her and Liv Morgan, and then Sarah Logan got released, talks about her being back, but now she's pregnant. Or welcome to her first child, I forget. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with Liv Morgan. Her and Ruby Riott, glad they've both been on at least. Sorry that this video is much more rambling than I expected. I have to do a part 2 for SmackDown. We'll see. But anyway, Murphy, he's been with Seth Rollins, and again, very underrated guy. Nia Jax, she battled Asuka, but then kind of fell off, feuding with Charlotte when Charlotte returns. Randy Orton, I mentioned, possibly one last run for the title against Drew, possibly at SummerSlam. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, the whole eye for an eye feud. We'll possibly see what happens with Rey, the follow-up on Raw tonight. Ricochet, hopefully him and Cedric tag team champions. Robert Roode, haven't seen him in quite some time. Hopefully he does return and provide something. Ruby Riott mentioned, great to see her back on. Hopefully the Riot Squad, something possibly there. Samoa Joe, great on the announce team. Hopefully he does return to the ring soon. Seth Rollins, kind of this mid-card / main event stuck in between there with the Rey Mysterio feud that has been going on for quite a while. We'll see what SummerSlam brings for the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Shayna Baszler recently returned on Raw. We'll see what happens with her. I heard Vince McMahon possibly